Many of my clients are now stopping to become an Airbnb business. So look, 5 years in the industry, guys, this is what we do every single day. Consulted hundreds and hundreds of clients all over the world. And for me, I want to keep it very, very simple for new operator starters or people who's been in the industry long enough as well. They're trying to take their business to the next level. Most of my clients, or especially clients who've worked with me before and are now coming back and working with me again, they are stopping to become an Airbnb or just an Airbnb business. They're thinking 2030, they're thinking ahead of time and want to maximize absolutely everything in their Airbnb business, especially in the world that we are right now. I see videos in YouTube every day, you probably watch it, to make £10,000 per month with Airbnb business or this and that. One of the things we do really well in Grow Airbnb is we just talk profit. It's great to show you all these big numbers, but at the end of the day, what you put in the pocket is profit. So in this video, I want to think about 2030. I want to talk to you guys about what you should be starting to look into as a part of your Airbnb business model. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. So what are you as an Airbnb operator? Are you short-term rental letting agency? Now guys, look, I've owned a estate and a letting agency, so I understand the model. I understand being a short-term rental letting agency is a completely different business model to just using Airbnb as a platform to market. There's enough people who use Airbnb as a marketing platform, but what about Booking.com? What about Verbo? This Home Furnished. There's so many OTAs, including your direct booking. And then also think about, are you just a vacation rental homes? A lot of people from US watch me, a lot of vacation rental homes there. There's a lot of Southeast Asia people watching my videos as well. A lot of vacation rental properties. And lastly, are you just a normal accommodation that's providing a short lets? You really need to understand, especially if you're creating a business model. There's people who are doing it. I know I've worked with landlords now who accidentally got into Airbnb property business, and they've today called themselves, oh yeah, we do Airbnb. And I'm like, okay, well, let's look at what you've been doing. And all they've done is Airbnb marketing. That's it. They don't have direct booking. They don't do Booking.com. They don't do anything else. They serve clients on a 2-3 night basis. Their mortgages on those property or loans on their property is very tiny because they own them. So it's a very interesting way to look at it. Now, to think 2030 means I want to talk about 4 major things in this video. Now, if you are looking to create a short-term rental business, a letting agency, a short-term rental letting agency, these are the 4 things you must start doing from today. Right, so my first tip is to hire or people in the business. I think one of the things I've quickly learned, especially for my client Deck and Jordan, I've got clients from Hofen Stays. These clients came and worked with me, like Hofen Stays, for example. They came and worked with me nearly about a year and a half ago and scaled their business from none or 1 unit to more than 7 units. But the biggest challenge they were doing is they were investing a lot of time working in the business, or actually missing business. Now, I want to share you a screenshot now that they came back and worked with me. I went through scaling and system processes with them. Obviously, we helped them through the process. We showed them how to hire, how to effectively hire, how to effectively train, give them all the checklist. And today, not only they're traveling a lot, but I sent them a message saying, hey, it sounds like you're getting a lot of time back to your business now. And they said not only that, but their VA or their staff has now completed a £6,000 direct booking without them being involved. So that is the power of scaling business with people. Now, within this people side of the business, you've got to think there's a lot of other people involved, like housekeeping team. Obviously, I know loads of people who have been struggled to manage their housekeeping team, because at the end of the day, it's third-party company coming and working in the business. And for example, if you have a last-minute booking, right? So imagine you had a last-minute booking, booked today, 2 days later, they're checking out. Now, what if your cleaning company is actually on holiday? Not only you've told them in last minute, in 2 days lead time, they've got to go and clean it, but but at the end of the day, they might not be 100% committed to your business. So think about people in the business who are involved in your short-term rental letting agency business. Who are the people that's going to make you perform better and help you grow in the business? It could be people who come into the business at a later date when you have 5 units and above. And guys, I think one of the things I've learned, if you guys have 5 units and they're all being profitable and at least making you that minimum $1,000 a month on profit, you must think about hiring that first VA. If your housekeeping team, you've got 5 units, you don't rely on one housekeeping team, you always make sure you've got a backup housekeeping team. See, if you think about when I say think 2030, it's because we want to think ahead of time. A lot of our competition, you must be watching this thinking, oh my God, I've had issue with housekeeping team before. Oh my God, I've missed a booking because clearly you haven't spent enough time on the listing. So very, very important factor of business, and especially to think forward. Let's move to tip number 2, which is brand and marketing of your short-term rental letting agency. Guys, again, if you think about being an Airbnb business, and sadly, obviously Instagram, YouTube, you see a lot of people marketing going zero in 90 days, make more than £10,000 per month. Well, actually, is it revenue or is it profit? And a lot of time, how do you go about creating those revenue? And it's the biggest thing I've learned is the branding and marketing of your short-term rental business, not your property. Because at the end of the day, you can have one property, or you can have, some of our clients got over 150 property. What's going to set you aside in future, again, if you're going to think about 2030, is the brand, the marketing that you're going to use in the business. Now, one of the things I've learned over the last few years in my journey of helping a lot of operators, building their short-term rental brand, understanding their guest behavior, understanding location, understanding what a couple who wants to relocate for a month has got a completely different requirement to a family who's moving from Saudi Arabia for 3 months project, and all of this, we've pretty much gone through every single scenario you can ever think of from a guest perspective. It all fell down to how you're marketing your property, how you're creating ads of your property. But more importantly for me, the bigger clients who's done really well, we've taken clients from £25,000 to £125,000. It took us probably about 3-4 months on direct bookings. But how did we do that? Is by doing branding and marketing. We focused on creating a short-term rental business. We didn't focus on filling those property, because as the lead comes into your business, you can then deploy that lead into all the properties you potentially have in your business. So very, very important, guys. I do a lot of videos about it. Please make sure you take this seriously. Are you an Airbnb business marketing, or would you like to take it to a short-term rental letting agency? The third thing I want to discuss, which again, I've been the most honest guy in the internet world for Airbnb business, is, look, let's think about it this way. Operationals and legal. Now, if you're signing a contract with a landlord, and I think something I've always outly spoken about legals in the business is, if you're signing a rent-to-rent agreement, and in the UK, obviously we call it rent-to-rent, in US you call it Airbnb arbitrage. You obviously do a lease with a landlord to agree that you're going to use it as a short-term rental property. Now in the UK, something you must be aware of is, although you speak to the landlord and you tell them that their mortgage should allow them to do short-let property, sadly, although you put that in a contract and you've had proofs of conversation about it, your landlord are not going to the actual mortgage company or the lender and actually telling them that the person who's letting them out, or they're letting it out to, is running a short-term rental business. Now, obviously, at this moment in time, from a legal perspective, it isn't that big. And for me personally, this is why I've always found it very challenging on rent-to-rent business, that when somebody's doing a rent-to-rent, how often is actually the landlord going and speaking to their lender and telling them that The person who's letting it out is running as a short-term rental business. Now, it's one of the many things I discuss, and I hope you've learned from this. Like, look, there's nothing to hide in the business. The more you learn, the more I work with different operators around the world, the more I get to understand how they operate in the business. I get to understand who's doing it right way and who's doing it the wrong way. Now, the reason why I brought this topic up is Think 2030. If you're thinking that you're going to get away not doing it the right way, and you've said the landlord, but he or she hasn't done it, and you've got the contract, you've started using the property as a short-term rental, look, it's not going to last long. So my advice to you is, come on, guys, look, take it seriously. Take the legal and operational extremely seriously. Obviously, this is one of the many examples, but for me, if I was you, I will write down everything that's involved in legal and operational of your business, and hopefully you get to work on it very seriously, thinking ahead and 2030. And my final tip for this video is understanding your sales and performance. Now, in my journey of working with so many operators last 4 years, one thing I've seen is nobody has ever been able to give me a performance report. Especially when I say, if you've got 1 or 2 units, it's fine because you kind of know your number, you're going month and month, you understand the profit at the end of the month, but it's still important to have a sales and financial report. At the end of the day, look, guys, if you want to treat it as a business, you want to scale as a business, you want people to come, you want team to come in the business and act it as a business, you should be able to have all this system in place, especially sales and performance. Sales could be included. How many direct booking lead did you get last week? If it's 0, that needs to be documented somewhere in the business. Now, if it's financial, have a financial. So what I have started doing is with a lot of my clients who, obviously my job is only branding and marketing. My job is to say, you haven't built a brand, let's build a brand. You haven't had lead, let's get you those leads. And you potentially will get those bookings because you've now got amount of good leads in the business. But my job is not to talk about sales and performance. Happily, I am at the moment talking about sales and performance with clients because I want my clients to succeed in 2030. I want to make sure that all of these clients are going through the right procedure, right system, right operational, right people, and something that I really cover in Grow Airbnb is this process. So guys, I hope you enjoyed another Grow Airbnb video. It's been a fantastic day today, trying to make sure that the more I think about it, the more I've been in different calls over the last few weeks with our clients. It's very exciting to share this because you might be someone who's just about to start, or you might be someone who's started your journey already and want to progress in short-term rental business. Let's not think about it as an Airbnb business. Airbnb is just a platform. You've got to think ahead, you've got to think forward, and you are a short-term rental letting agency.